Hi there, my name is Lucy and I'd like to tell you a wee bit about my research. I'm making this video for two reasons. Firstly, for Creative Multilingualism at Oxford University, who very generously gave me some funding, and for the Scottish Graduate School for Social Science, who have shortlisted my research for an award. So this is a way for me to present a little bit about the research methods and the impact of my research. I'm doing a PhD that brings together various different threads of my life experience as a bit of a jack of all trades. I've studied languages, I've worked in community development and community music in prisons particularly, and with a wide range of other groups. And I've played in various bands too. So this PhD brings together a broad range of disciplines. And what I'm particularly interested in is the spaces in between, the liminal spaces, between disciplines, between research and practice, between languages, and between people. I'm using collaborative songwriting as a research method to explore social integration, with a particular focus on what happens after migration or after an experience of the criminal justice system. This video will focus particularly on the strand of work with people who have migrated, and if you're interested in the criminal justice related side of the research, I've been fortunate enough to work as part of the research team of the Distant Voices project, which is a really exciting collaborative action research project, and you can find out more about that if you follow the link on the screen. My research methodology combines elements of qualitative social science research with a practice-based approach. I work with groups and individuals running creative workshops where we write original songs together, which are often multilingual. The research process follows an iterative model, described by Melissa Trimmingham and following Kurt Lewin, called the hermeneutic-interpretive spiral. Trimmingham explains this as a model where progress is not linear but circular, a spiral which constantly returns us to our original point of entry, but with renewed understanding. This spiralling model leaves space for unknowns and for learning and adapting and collaborating as we go. The diagram shows how research practice, shown here in orange, intersects with creative practice in blue. With each cycle, there's space for reflection, for dialogue, for learning, and improving the process. And each songwriting process is unique because it's highly responsive to the context and the people involved. I've had the privilege of working with groups from a number of fantastic organisations here in Glasgow. This process leads to multiple types of research impact. The first is the capacity building impact on research participants, or knowledge holders, a term developed by Lenette, which I prefer. Firstly, the benefits of self-expression. It's a story of something you can't really say, but then you put it into lyrics and it turns into your whole heart that you couldn't really speak. The impact of multilingual approaches has been significant. I will value my language now. I never knew Malay could sound beautiful. The potential for connection across different linguistic, ethnic and cultural backgrounds is here too. After performing a multilingual co-written song together, Fatma said, "It feels like we are all from one place, like we were lost and we met again." Finally, the potential for inspiration and personal growth. I can relate to that. She's strong, she's amazing, she's going through it, and it's like, I can do that as well, you know? Another kind of impact is instrumental impact, where the research intersects with the working practices of other professionals. On some of the songwriting workshops, I had the privilege of co-facilitating with some really brilliant community musicians, and together we learned, drawing on bell hooks, about the importance of shifting towards the margins. Claire said, "I saw how we, the practitioners, moved more and more into the background. There was a shift in power dynamics." And Donna said, "Before this project, I wouldn't have felt able to use all the languages of the group in songwriting. Now I feel much more confident in helping people write songs using other languages, even though I don't speak them." Through the podcast I make, which is a kind of audio scrapbook documenting my research process, I have also been able to find connections more broadly. For example, a consultant clinical psychologist working with people seeking asylum in Glasgow noted key intersections with her work around narrative therapy, particularly with the themes around vulnerability and humility as precursors to learning, relationships, and research. The research has also led to academic impact, with the podcast being recommended widely by academics across various disciplines, including criminology, community music and education. I've had invitations to share the work nationally and internationally. I've written a blog post and written and submitted 2 journal articles, which will be coming out later this year. Just briefly, I'd also like to talk about the potential future impact of the research. So my PhD submission will consist of a shorter length thesis and an album of collaboratively written songs. And the album was originally going to consist of basic home recordings, which wouldn't be of a high enough quality to release. However, now, with thanks to funding from Creative Multilingualism, I have been able to begin the process of creating professional studio recordings with the co-writers of the songs. If I'm able to secure further funding through the Scottish Graduate School, this would go towards completing the studio recording and release of the album. The work and all the voices involved would then reach a much wider public audience, with the potential to influence public, political and cultural narratives around migration and criminal justice, contributing, hopefully, to a more nuanced and inclusive approach to these discourses. This has been a lot of me talking, so I'm going to stop now and let you hear a fragment of the music instead. What you can hear is one of the tracks recorded so far, with a group called Life After Detention. This is a group set up by Scottish detainee visitors to support people who have experienced immigration detention in Scotland. Together, we wrote and recorded a song called More Than One. And as you listen, you might want to imagine about 8 of us, plus a wee baby, in a vocal booth at Global Studios, singing in Farsi, Arabic, Urdu, Sarang, Amharic and Swahili. It was a pretty special experience.